Hey everyone, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and also share the video. Hey everybody, it's the Christian Jamaican Coolie back at it again with another video. Before I even get started, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone on the YouTube family and especially to my subscribers. You 38 subscribers have been with me for a good while and I'm thankful for you guys. And whether this channel grows or dies, I just want to let you guys know that I really appreciate the diehard fans that actually watch my videos and sometimes reach out to me. I really appreciate that. It doesn't matter how small you are, it doesn't matter how big you are. I'm very thankful to have anyone who watches my videos and takes time to even comment on it. So if you're reading the title right now, you know what it is. It means that I'm going to be talking about broken homes. But the thing about it is that I'm not just going to be talking about any broken home. I'm going to be talking about my broken home. We're going to delve into my past. I'm going to talk about my parents. And I'm going to talk about the home that I grew up in. And I hope you guys understand because this will be a span of 3 videos. And I hope you guys stick it out with me as I delve deep into my past. I am going to be talking about how my parents met, how they got married, and their peradventures of them in their relationship. So just so you know, my parents to this day are still married. I'm 38 years old, going to be 39 this year, and I'm just letting you guys know that to this day, my parents are still married. But we're going to delve deep into everything as the story progresses. I want you guys to stick around and stay tuned and just enjoy the video. So I want to start where I honestly think where it began. And I think it began back when my grandfather had his auto mechanic shop. And I want to start there for one main reason. And this main reason is that my father used to work for my grandfather. And I honestly believe that's how he met my mother. And despite clear red flags and against her family's wishes, my mother still decided to get married to my father. And when I say clear red flags, I mean the signs were more than obvious. The signs were more than evident. My father, he had a child before he met my mother, meaning that he had a baby mother already. And this is not to disrespect my half-brother. And we're going to get into him later on in a second video that I'm going to put up. But the clear signs are this. My father was working for my grandfather. My father was from a different social class than my mother. And this is not to put him down again, but this is just to say there is a vast difference between the two. I honestly believe that my father didn't love my mother. He never truly loved her. I believe he saw it as a come up. He was working for my grandfather. He was a guy from the country who had nothing, and he saw that marrying his boss's daughter would give him a come up. Now, nevertheless, with those clear red flags, those clear signals that this relationship shouldn't happen, that they had no business with being with each other, my mother still decided that, against everybody's better wishes, she was going to get married to this guy. And believe me, my mother was not an ugly woman. My mother was very beautiful from the pictures that I saw of her. And she also had other male suitors, men in her social class. No, I'm not saying this to say, hey, listen, she should have gone with somebody in her social class or whatever it is. But I just believe that my mother could have made a better choice. There are honestly certain attributes I've seen about my father that I said to myself, maybe that's why she liked him. My father is a very charismatic person. He has a very charismatic personality, and I honestly believe that I have inherited that from him. But, whatever it is that my mother saw in my father, it had to be a very profound reason for her marrying him. And so my parents settled down and had 4 children. The eldest one, Tanisha, our oldest sister, following with my brother Rashid, then myself, Hermione, and our very last child, which is Charisse. And I know you're going to ask me about my half brother, but he didn't really come into play until I was about 5 or 6 years old, or that's when my memory started to remember people. So he could have been there before. He could have been living with us before that. But I also heard that his mother was really nice, and I've met her before too. She was really nice. She was never a mean woman or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I heard that she warned my mother not to get involved with my father. And you see, clear signs of women sometimes not listening to reasoning, even from, other women. And, sometimes we like to say, oh, it's because she's angry, she's upset that he didn't choose her. Yes, that could be right. But there are times that some women have experienced something bad with a man, and they basically want to warn other women of it. Now, to be honest, I've never really heard my mother speak badly or ill of her. I've also even seen my mother speak very positively of her. But you never know. I was a child, and my mother never really vented to us about that situation. But the minute we got into teenage years was when my mother started to expose what was going on. She started to sit us down and have us understand what was going on with her and my father, what my father was doing, etc., etc., etc. And I'm just trying to summarize the beginning of where I think everything started. I haven't really scratched the surface that much. There is a lot more that went on before I could properly remember my life as it is, or as it turned out to be. So, if I went deeper into things that my mother told me, things that was happening, we'd never get the story done. But I'm just trying to summarize so you can get an idea of how things started in my life and where I'm coming from. Now, as I remember it, it all started one day when I heard crying in the house, and I went to investigate the crying to see where it was coming from. And it was my mother. She was on her knees, crying, 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 sobbing and crying. And then she lifted up her head and she saw me. And, I asked her, Mom, why are you crying? What's wrong? And then and there, my mother began to explain everything. And even as a little boy at that point in time, I remembered everything that she said, everything that we spoke about, the whole situation. My mother opened up about her inheritance that she received from her father, and that the inheritance actually dried up. At the time, we owned about 4 businesses. These were actually businesses that were failing. And these businesses were basically my father's, ventures, where he used my mother's inheritance to open up his ideas and visit businesses and things like that. And all these businesses at the time were failing. We all knew about us owning these businesses because there were several times where my father brought us to these businesses and we had to basically work in the businesses. We had to sell products, we had to clean the business, we had to do this, and my mother would let us know happily that we owned these businesses. We also owned a second house in the country of St. Elizabeth in Jamaica, and I was also very proud to know that we owned a second house and we were also renting the house out. We visited the house several times. you know that house later on, when I turned about 20 something years old, was sold. And that was a pretty sad thing too as well. My mother continued and opened up about my father's infidelity in their marriage. And apparently, my father had other children. And one of the most surprising thing is that you heard me speak about my younger sister Cherise earlier, which is the last child of my mother. Well, around that time, we had a maid that had a child in the same year that my sister was born. And apparently, my father is the father of that child. This was a maid that worked for us. This was a maid that was cleaning our home. This was a maid that was basically changing diapers and doing all these things. Now, she would not even be the first maid that my father slept with. And she will not definitely be the last maid that my father has slept with. As the story gets deeper in video 1, you're going to realize, even though it's still a summary, that this was actually what was going on inside the home. Well, there you have it, people. I hope you liked the video. This is just a glimpse into what I had dealt with growing up, and the origin story still isn't finished. The problem is that my computer can't handle, I had originally made the video longer, but I had to cut it short and put in what I could put in because my computer kept crashing. And even now, it keeps crashing constantly, even as I'm working on other animations and things. But I hope you liked the video, and I hope you stuck it through till the end. And if you like my content, click the like button, comment, subscribe, and also feel free to share the video. And if you're led to do so, please feel free to donate. The description for my PayPal and Cash App is in the description box below. You can check it out. Like I said before, any amount you send will be highly appreciated. Enough love and respect, people. Christian Jamaican Cooley out.